Uh, Thank you, Sasha. If you don't mind, typically I go through and we do introductions of everybody, but we're going to try to keep this short. If we can get through it in the next 45 minutes, that'd be great, and let you get back to your lunch. But in the meantime, if you don't mind putting who you are in chat, where you're from, that would be very, very helpful. And we'd appreciate that. And we'll get back to a normal meeting sequence in August, actually, next month. And we'll be wanting to give you updates of what's happening in Ventura, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara counties. So I'm going to introduce Maria Kelly because she's been attending a lot of the statewide meetings. I couldn't make one yesterday that she was at, talking about all the various programs and what other consortia are doing and what's coming down. She's put together a slide deck of which we'd shared with you, but I'll let her walk through the slides. And then Peter, did you raise your hand? I saw you waving.
I was waving at somebody. I was waving at some paparazzi that were outside my door. Okay. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. I've lived in the Valley for the last 30 years and struggled with my internet connectivity. I used to manage and became CEO of a computer company in Newbury Park. And we got a T1 line back in those days for communications. And I moved up here and I have used a phone modem, which originally from Verizon and now through Frontier. And the long-suffering tech moved over one company to the next and has assured me many times that we have an astoundingly good reception of about 2.5 megabits a second. And he says the problem is you have squirrels on the line. So squirrels and woodpeckers do a lot of damage here. But we just signed up with a Starlink. And that is amazing, truly.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but I just wanted to say hi. I can't stay very long for this time, but please keep me in the loop.
Peter, we're glad you joined us, and we'll look forward to giving you more updates in the future meetings and staying connected. So appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm on the mailing list. So
yeah. Okay. Maria, you want to take off and talk about ACP and the affordable connectivity program?
I will. Thanks, Bill. And again, hopefully we'll keep our meeting brief and to the point. I have dropped into chat a link for sign up for organizations that want to participate in the Get Connected California, but I'll step back just a little bit. So this was an initiative that was launched. It was mentioned earlier, late this spring, but about 10 days ago, we came out, there was a bunch of information coming out to the consortia, CSAC, everybody, and I dropped the statement of purpose in chat as well, so you can get a little bit of background on what the Affordable Connectivity Program. This is a California initiative. It's in a response to state and federal funding, and as well as Broadband for All, and how we connect and get certain families, individuals, and people connected to the internet. In addition to cell phones, this is actual, internet connection, what we're talking about. It's also stemmed from the Digital Equity Bill of Rights. All these, we'll post this, we can share it and post it, but all the links in this presentation are live, so you can go ahead and do a little bit more research on your own. But the premise is that the internet is for everyone, and how do we get there? And one of the ways is we provide incentivized programs for connectivity. So California Broadband for All, which is the action plan developed by the California Broadband Council, has some, three key goals, which is connectivity, affordability, and access to training, equipment, and support. So what we're talking about today is affordable connectivity to help close the digital divide. And I've added a little bit of background. The ACP is a federal program. It is being promoted heavily right now throughout the country. This is not just California. This is rolling out across the country. And it's one of those boxes that we're all checking to make sure that we're all getting connected. Here's some data for our Tri-County region. This information can be found on a website I'll drop in the chat towards the end of this presentation, so you can go ahead and take a look. It's the Internet for All website through the California Emerging Technology Fund is utilizing this data has been developed by Chico State. So what they're going for, like I said on that first slide, is 98% enrollment by 2027. So this shows eligible households and the percentage of households that are enrolled as of May. This is getting updated, pretty regularly, but this has just been pulled from May. So Ventura County, there's a bit of a gap. Santa Barbara, you'll see a much bigger gap. Of the 46% eligible households, only 16% are registered. And actually the data that we've developed from the Broadband Strategy Project, this is true. We're seeing that its connectivity and affordability are some of the bigger issues for Santa Barbara as well as San Luis Obispo. So in San Luis Obispo County, it's a significant gap as well. Of the eligible households, 40% of our households are eligible and only 13% are enrolled. This doesn't mean that people aren't accessing the internet, but they may be accessing it through maybe a student hotspot, or they're accessing it through a community Wi-Fi or a library Wi-Fi. But this is actual households that should be able to connect to the internet that are not connected as of right now. So this is why they're running this program, or why this initiative is being pushed out, and the consortium is here to help us get organized and move it forward. So what are the benefits and why are we talking about this? Here's the benefits on the left-hand side. Coming out of the Biden administration, there's some new agreements that have been made that some telecoms are basically going to make their baseline program $30. So for some, that will ultimately end up being free. There's not a lot of $30 a month internet services, but there's a lot of negotiating and moving around right now. So it's possible that some of them will be $30. So great. So you have internet service, but how are you going to connect? So that comes down to,
shortly.
Can you,
I'll take the gate.
Sasha, can you mute Mr. Felt? Thank you. So connecting, getting equipment. That's the second piece. There is information again within this PowerPoint. Santa Barbara does have a partners program through the County Office of Education where they do have access. It's heavily funded by Cox. Thank you for that. So looking for those devices, there are some other national programs, but that's going to come. That's also part of this process, but this project is really just registering for the internet services. So affordableconnectivity.gov is a place to find out more about these services, but who can benefit? It's almost everybody that's involved in social services departments, any child who qualifies for the National School Lunch Program, which is why it's really important that we push this information, continues to get pushed out to our school sites as well. When we talk to school districts, what was their biggest thing that they were doing during the pandemic was deploying hotspots. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hotspots were deployed throughout COVID to help children to connect. If families were able to access the internet or had an internet service provider, that would be different. We're trying to avoid having that sort again. So this is why it's really important to partner with social service agencies within our counties. We have good connections already with Santa Barbara County, working with San Luis Obispo County, and we'll be meeting shortly with Ventura County to make sure this information gets pushed out via their services as well. Again, where are these programs? Finding service programs, finding out who your provider is, or helping people find out who their provider is and what programs are available is on the California Department of Technology website under their Broadband for All project. The reason why I put this here is that this page can be translated into any language. It's automatically translated with Google Translate. So that's why I'm showing it, because if you just go to one site to start to find out what's available, to understand what services, affordability, besides the Affordable Connectivity Program, but what other internet offers or digital skills training offers are in your area, you can go and use this Google Translate, and anybody can see what's happening within their communities. I've tried several. It actually works really, really well. So kudos to the California Department of Technology. This is just background. Again, not everyone in our counties are gonna, we're not gonna have a bunch of sites set up. August is the kickoff month. The registration day where there will be events within the counties will be August 27th. But these are all the steps that go into someone being able to apply. It's not very simple. That does require some support. It does require some help, which is probably why some of our enrollment numbers aren't as high as they could be. So again, working with community-based organizations, social service partners, the special school lunch programs, making sure that people have the right documentation to apply. This does not preclude, this is for everybody that lives in this country. This is not precluded on citizenship. If you have a household and you are living in a home, you can access this program and receive services for internet connectivity. So these are some of the things, but again, just as background information. So when we're going out into the communities and we're making sure that people are prepared to apply, this is what we're going to be looking for. This is why we're setting up sites. This is why the push is to have some hands-on sites, is to help people walk through the process. How we're going to organize over the next 4 weeks. This is absolutely one of the shortest community-based organizing I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's not my preferred approach or methods, but we need to respond and get ourselves rolling in the same direction. So again, in the link today, I did drop the first link in chat is for people that want to track, be involved, get information from the state organizers, which is the California Emerging Technology Fund. They're helping crowdsource and organize all of us. You can sign up and find out what information is available. They'll be updating that with who's going to be participating where. We'll be working on press releases for each of our counties that we can share and you can push out to let people know that we're trying to get this registration event really is targeted around school, is targeted around when the students are going back to school, so that setting them up for success for the year. The second big push we've heard is going to be later this fall or early 2023. What we can do as the consortium is help distribute resource lists and information about the ACP process. Again, we're going to be getting a lot of information from the California Emerging Technology Fund about how we're organizing as a state, because there really are efforts throughout and everyone's responding. And I was just talking with Sasha about this. On our BCPC website, we will put the link for the resources, where the resources are going to be, background information, and we'll make sure that anybody who has any questions will be able to connect you directly with where these resources are going to be. Okay, all of this work, really fast work, is going to be culminating in registration events on August 27th. We are working right now. We have one site for sure in San Luis Obispo County and one site for sure in Santa Barbara County so far, where and really targeting in our underserved areas. So again, based on data that we have, we can see where we have more families that are not connected. So for SLO County, it's North County. For Santa Barbara County, it tends to be North County, but there's also, larger areas around the Goleta and Santa Barbara City area as well. We'll target those as best we can with community partners. This is really going to be important that other community-based organizations, we're partnering with them, because the 27th is a Saturday. A lot of people are not working. We'll assist with identifying and inviting organizations. The Santa Barbara Foundation in Santa Barbara is really going to be key in stepping up and supporting some of this work effort. I've met with couple organizations. Tuscadero Unified School District is going to be participating. So we're going to be reaching out a little bit more and making sure this at a minimum that all this information gets pushed out to families, so that at least they've got the information. And then we'll really target a minimum of at least one event in each county this first time around. But as we move forward, there will be more events to make sure that we're going to help California hit those targets and really put some muscle in behind broadband for all. So what happens next after this next big push? Because it doesn't just end here, but this is where we're sort of rolling it out really quickly. We're going to look, the consortium, along with community-based organizations and government and everybody, looking to build those digital equity coalitions within each county, each of our counties, to make sure that we're tracking those numbers and we're reaching the people that we need to meet. We'll develop other lists. We'll identify sources for device distributions and trainings. For example, continuing to partner with organizations like Partners in Education in Santa Barbara County. We just helped them, supported them in writing a grant to expand their digital training and skills training into Lompoc and Guadalupe. These are all additional parts of the work effort. While we're trying to register people to get them connected, we'll also continue to be working on making sure people have devices and access to training. We know that that's a big piece of it. How is this work going to get funded? It's not free. Well, the first round has to be free because we're just going to be able to just do it. But there are grants out there that are going to be coming available for this type of work that we'll be working with community-based organizations, possibly government, different aspects of our communities that do and can do this kind of work and do it well. And we'll keep you apprised as a consortium, as partners and stakeholders. We'll make sure that we continue to update resource lists and make sure that people are aware of the grants that are available out there. So as you're speaking to organizations or partners or whatever, that you know that there are resources out there, and we will do our best to make sure that we are getting the funds that we need in our Tri-County region to hit these targets, to make sure that our underserved or disconnected households, and that doesn't just mean students, it means people that need access to telehealth. We've talked a lot in some of our outreach around senior citizens and senior citizens training centers, different ways, all the ways that we're going to be able to help our communities connect. So I'll stop there. That's basically from right now and barreling through next, through August 27th. But I'll stop there and answer any questions just to start.
I'll just echo what Maria said, though, about it's all happening fast. It's not the way we would have architected it. We were moving down a process where we wanted to collect community-based organizations, talk about digital navigators, trusted agents, and build bridges into these communities and have a logical sequence. This is going to be, happening fast and broad, and we just don't have the time to go off and do the methodical approach to make something happen. So we're really seizing the opportunity to use this as a catalyst. And so we've grabbed it, we're going to incorporate it, we're going to take full advantage of the fact that we've got to respond to this urgent need. At the same time, we're not going to lose sight of this normal path that we're on, where we're going to be coming up with strategies for the counties and building these coalitions and collaborative organizations in which we can be dealing with these communities in a logical way as well. A catalyst is what it is, and it's going to happen in August. Questions? We gave you an awful lot, awful fast, but it is happening fast.
Really quick before I forget, the first link that I did drop in the chat, we are organized and we're meeting every Thursday at 2 p.m. If for some reason you are interested in learning more or participating more or being able to communicate out more, everyone is welcome to join those meetings, and there's representatives from throughout the state of California. So feel free to fill in that Google Doc and make sure your email address gets in there, and you're welcome to participate however you would like to.
Hi, Dana.
Hey, Bill, thanks. And Maria, thanks for this, and appreciate you guys hopping on this really quickly. I have a timing question. So August 27th is a registration. does everything stop after August 27th, or what continues to happen for additional engagement and people to be registering? So talk a little bit more about the timeline we're working under.
Yeah, that's a great, thank you. I ran through that last slide really fast. Our goal is to continue to keep ACP in front, really in front of mind moving forward. So you'll see updates either in this forum, on our website. We'll continue to communicate with key stakeholders. We are developing stakeholder lists and email lists within the BCPC, but would encourage, everyone to feel free to promote and share. There's no ownership over the ACP program. It's all hands on deck to try to get everyone, connected. So feel one of the things that will be coming and we'll be able to share with you over the next week or two is more templates, more information. They actually are going to build a toolkit for us to use for some of the registration projects. Like I said, we have one site identified now in Northern Slow County in San Miguel, which is a perfect place to target for our county, Dan, for sure. And we'll have a site set up, and if nobody comes, but we're there and it's visible and we can hand out information, that's great. We just need to keep pushing the information out there. So we'll keep pushing this over the next many years until we hit those targets.
Hey, can I ask a follow-up? Do we multi-language communication tools are available?
So most of what we're going to be able to distribute, digitally is going to be mostly English and Spanish on the Internet for All website. And I will drop that in chat. It is translatable into multiple languages. One of the reasons why I added the California Department of Technology website and the Broadband for All is it uses Google Translate from worldwide languages. So everything is translated so you can find out about services, connect to the affordable program. So while we won't be distributing, necessarily our initial toolbox templates out, it is anticipated, we've been discussing this, is how do we meet those other languages, and on the Internet for All website, which I will drop into chat, there it is also translated into multiple languages. So let me get that really quick. This is the website where a lot of our work, everyone's work. This is where you can find the data by county. You can find the maps by county, what the statistics are. But Internet for All is the website that has the most. They have it translated into English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean so far. So there's good language translations digitally. Great question.
The word pilot comes to mind. Maria indicated that they'd already locked in on a site in San Luis Obispo County and one in Santa Barbara County. I expect within the next 48 hours, no later than early next week, we'll have a site in Ventura County as well. And we're going to really, we're going to build a lot and test a lot, in terms of processes around this. These are going to be pilots, and based on what we learned in the conduct of the event on the 27th, we'll be much smarter in terms of events in the fall that we may want to follow up with in respective communities. So there's an awful lot going on here. There's an awful lot of bullets and steps and talking points in terms of how to get people qualified and sign up. And, the more we learn about smoothing it out and making it simple and straightforward, the better. So.
Hey, Bill and Maria, if I could, it's John at AT&T. I know, probably speaking for the other providers as well, there are low income and have been low income offerings out in the marketplace for quite a while. But the great thing is with this affordable connectivity program, once customers and your community members get through that federal government's national verifier site and are deemed eligible, there are some upgraded options now given this this federal support. So at AT&T specifically, our low-cost program was always called Access from AT&T, and it obviously depends on by county, what PUC franchise territory, or, how that's defined for your wireline service. But for those residents interested that live in AT&T's footprint, the actual product or program that once they're deemed eligible through the ACP website, we have now a $30 a month offering for up to 100 megs of symmetrical speeds. So it's basically a wash when they get that $30 a month credit or voucher. So there's a real benefit, but just remember, ACP is a federal program. Folks go to a national site to get deemed eligible, and then they go to the providers to sign up for the service, or they apply it to their existing service. But I just wanted to remind everybody there are some upgraded options available for those community members. So there might be a household out there that's currently getting 15 meg or 12 megs, and they might be eligible for 100 based on the wireline footprint. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's one of the great things about this is all coming together so lovely between the providers and the federal funding. It's really a gift. Again, highly encouraged. To your point, I'm going to drop in the CDT website as well, where I showed you that you can find your affordable programs by zip code. Yeah, thank you, Dan. I'm watching the chat. Thank you, Danny. Yes, Cox Communications has a great connection as well as the partners here in Santa Barbara County for devices, which is fantastic. When you go to that final link and you go up, I'll share my screen really quickly to go to Dana's point. Just again, as an FYI, this is what it looks like when you go to the Affordable California CDT website, Broadband for All, and you click on Google Translator, and it basically will translate this site into any language. So language really does not need to be a barrier when it comes to finding those services, where services are. There's a lot of sites doing a lot of different things, and I did try to provide a lot of links within that PowerPoint, because understanding, like AT&T said, you find out if you're qualified, and then you've got to find your provider, and then it's got to be applied. So, but once you're in, and that's really great. So.
Questions? George.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Just wondering, Bill, how do you anticipate the best mechanism to put this out to the community and the residents? How would you anticipate this be promoted, and maybe provide a little direction to the group of people on the call? I know that Ventura County has the Complete Count Committee that they've utilized to relay the message in a trustful way to the people in need of services. But I'm wondering what the expectation is of the participants on this call to promote it, one. And then two, I'm wondering, is this, I'm assuming, but just to have it overtly clear, this is in addition to the opening of the LATA grant process and that availability, and then the subsequent granting opportunities that are available from there. So now there's a tremendous list, but those are my two questions.
Yep. I think to piggyback on what you've just said, we are having a conversation with the Community Foundation later today, exactly for what you talked about, the complete count and that model, and that worked for that. And I think if we can rally those groups and rally those people and those bridge builders and trusted agents, we certainly want to do that. That is a good way, and it's proven in that the organizations and networks are in place. The other piece is the schools absolutely are on the tip of the spear on this stuff. I mean, what we found in COVID was that regardless of the parent status or the family status, I mean, schools needed to connect to the kids. And so the ability to, Maria talked about the hotspots, to come up with a more sustainable long-term solution for the kids is going to be, you know, that really is an opportunity here that we want to take full advantage of. So those are the two things that come to mind. But this is why we're having the conversation now. If there's more than those kinds of strategies, we're not seeing, we certainly want to hear about them and talk about them and explore them as well. Thanks for the
So,
question, George.
as just a follow up and for clarification, I am hearing that this is not necessarily a public works issue. This is a community development issue. This is an outreach issue.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
this is the people side of the infrastructure. So whenever we're talking about broadband deployment, we're talking about the infrastructure, but then getting the people. This is the people side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's potentially a whole group of people to connect with to
Yeah.
put out this message within the various institutions other than the participants on this call.
Right. So in chat, I dropped a document, and because the call to action or the statement of purpose came from the state library services, the CSAC, CETF, CDT. It's a coalition throughout California to try to hit the public, the public sector, private sector, and community-based organizations. So for us here in this Tri-County region, we're really going to target county offices of education, which are probably fairly well engaged, as well as community-based organizations that are already providing services that we know of to, like, again, say, let's use Lompoc as an example. We'll make sure, and I already emailed the director there at the Adult Career Center, this program is coming. We'll provide you information so that as your, students come, they know how they can connect to the internet. So we'll be using a significant network throughout the counties of our community-based organizations. Sorry, Mike, I jumped in ahead of you.
Council member. You have a
Thank you so
question?
much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the conversation. I'm glad I came in today. We at the city, we have really not been engaged in broadband for a couple of years now, other than every now and then we're asked to sign a contract with Sci-Fi, and that's happening again Monday with really no discussion. My concern, of course, with a lot of this has to do with making sure that whatever we do is going to really work well for our underserved communities. The current contract we have now doesn't really require them to do any of it. And so I would ask if Danny Milla and John Heffernan, if you could please just reach out to me at the email I put in chat with just sort of a brief summary about what some of the bigger incumbents are able to do, because I need to be able to point out alternatives to Sci-Fi that, and it doesn't have to be Sci-Fi but I want to make sure we have a Sci-Fi and definitely not Sci-Fi instead of. And so I think having some industry experts point out what can be done besides Sci-Fi would be very helpful for me in the city. So thank you.
Yeah, will do. Just a reminder for folks not familiar with Sci-Fi, I mean, that they're really an infrastructure company. They then hand off to some local third-party ISP provider, not one of the incumbent telecoms or cable companies that have been, living and working in these communities and supporting organizations for, decades. But still, competition's good. We welcome it.
Yeah. Well said.
We'll make sure to reach out to you.
Any other questions or topics before I once again wanted to keep the meeting somewhat short and respect your lunch hour, and we'll look forward to giving you full briefs of the initiatives in each of the counties in the next meetings coming up. But this was one of those topics that we needed to give you a heads up before August and let you know that our communications and efforts are pivoting to include this and to be part of everything that we're talking about and just have the conversation. George, are you saying something again?
Yeah, Bill, I was wondering if maybe you could just take a minute, not to put you on the spot, but wondering if you could talk about the LADA grant and the subsequent grants and maybe give an update as far as what time we're looking at. I know that the open date for the LADA grant is August 1st, But are there any others? Is there a deadline with that? Is there a deadline for submission for the others?
Good question, George, and I would have been remiss if I hadn't have talked about it. So I appreciate you asking the question. Maria, did you want to?
I was just gonna call out Megan's on the call if you want to
Oh.
call her.
Megan. Maybe Megan is our resident expert on LATA, and she's helping us both in the Ventura and Santa Barbara County area. And so, feel free to, give the 2 cents, the nickel and dime tour of LATA, Megan.
Yes, so we are working on application as said for Santa Barbara and Ventura County. We'll be looking at design engineering funds for Ventura and environmental report funds for Santa Barbara. Both of those are going to be preparing for the last mile grant that should be coming, we think, December. So we're doing as much as we can with the LATA funds, which we hope to submit in the middle to end of August.
So it is a rolling admission. The next batch, I believe, if I recall, is going to be after the first of the year. There's 50 million in this first batch, and it's I don't know if I can say it loosely, first come, first serve. When it's gone, unless they raise the ceiling. For $500,000 per at 50 million, that's about 100 awards. And so it may be something less than that for those people that go and ask for more money that goes through the commission itself. But 100 awards in the state of California with all of the eligible parties is not going to go all too far. When you look at the 3 cities, the 3 counties and all the cities we've got, and we're looking at 24 to 27 alone just on here in the Central Coast if everybody applied for it. These funds are for public organizations. They are to build capacity, and so any city, any county can use them and apply for them. And as I say, there is some urgency to get them before they're used up. And so August 1 is a magic day. Yes, that's when the gates open, perhaps. And we're really targeting to try to get the applications at the regional level submitted within the middle of the month, within the next 30 days, to try to get there right there in the first batch while it's available. So thank you, George.
Yes, I would say if there are interested parties, there will be a webinar next week. I believe it's next Tuesday.
Yep.
I see now that in the chat that's what's being mentioned. And I'm sure they'll have lots of great information on there.
Thank you.
For the question. Yeah. That is another pressing thing that's happening right now, and very much on the front burner. Any other questions? Hearing none, feel free to connect after hours when our meeting's up, but we'll continue moving forward. And I just thank you for taking the time today to join us. And we'll go ahead, and Kurt's just joining us, but he'll get us at the tail end as we all adjourn. We'll say thank you, Kurt. Goodbye. So
Thank you.
we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Take care, Bill.